Tonight, hit-run tragedy. One of our top educators, a much-loved former principal, killed while cycling on Beach Road. A driver has been arrested. Get out the uniform, pack the lunchbox and grab the school bag. We're heading back to the classroom. Why tourism could be the big winner from the $60 billion JobKeeper accounting bungle. What a blast! Hazelwood Power Station's towers come tumbling down, biting the dust in spectacular fashion. And Jack Stephen returns to training after the stabbing incident that put him in hospital as the AFL reveals the fixture for the first 4 rounds. We'll cross live for all the details.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First, a highly respected former school principal and mother of 3 has been killed in a tragic hit and run in the city's southeast. Deborah Locko was riding a bike at Beaumaris when she was struck from behind and left for dead. It's the second time tragedy has struck the Locko family in less than 3 years.
A passionate educator with an infectious enthusiasm for life. That's how colleagues describe Deborah Locko. The former school principal was more recently an acting regional director. Around 5:30 last night, the mother of 3 was out riding her bicycle when she was hit and left for dead.
I've been doing this a long time now, and I still find it hard to believe people can be so callous enough to just take off.
The 60-year-old was riding in a bike lane on Beach Road at Beaumaris when the car struck her from behind. The driver didn't stop.
Witnesses have told 10 News First up to 5 people ran to the victim's aid and performed CPR until paramedics arrived. Sadly, she was unable to be saved and died at the scene.
I saw like a pair of shoes on the beach side of the road. She did have a helmet. I could see her helmet on.
Family and friends came to lay flowers at the roadside. Online, South Oakley Secondary College paid tribute to its former principal. She was not only a professional colleague, but a friend to all who shaped and drove educational change. The car was found a few blocks away. The driver was nowhere to be seen.
He then left his 2 passengers, two young girls, and a 1-year-old child in that car and ran.
Police arrested a man at a house near Geelong hours later. It's the second tragedy in 3 years for the Locko family. Her husband, Frank, died in a boating accident in Thailand on his birthday in 2017. They leave behind 3 adult children.
It's just disgrace, an absolute disgrace, to leave a human being laying on the road. I just cannot fathom how people could think that that is acceptable in any way, shape or form.
Jade Kotick for 10 News First.
And Jade Kotick joins us live now. Jade, have any charges been laid yet?
Not yet, Jen. The 35-year-old man allegedly behind the wheel of a Holden Commodore involved in the fatal hit and run. He tonight remains in police custody. He was picked up by detectives late last night at his home at Armstrong Creek, an outer suburb of Geelong. He still remains in police custody, waiting to be questioned at Geelong Police Station. It's likely he will be charged tonight and face court tomorrow.
OK, thank you very much, Jade. Well, Victoria's youngest and oldest students will head back to school tomorrow, bringing an end to almost 8 weeks of homeschooling. But classrooms and playgrounds will look very different with strict COVID-19 measures now in place.
Tomorrow can't come soon enough for Everleigh Kitchingman.
I'm feeling excited. I'm going to see my teacher, my friends and my specialist teachers. I've got my uniform laid out and my bag ready to go.
And you've been wearing that school uniform every day while you've been homeschooling?
Yes, it makes me feel like I'm at school even though I'm home.
But her school and classroom will look different. So too, how she plays with her friends.
Hand sanitizer is obviously a staple in our classrooms now. We've had to sort of take away a lot of the shared things that you would normally see in a classroom, like pencils and pencil sharpeners and those sorts of things.
I cannot hug, high five or a handshake, but I can is a hug, a high five and a handshake.
If you thought the kids were excited, wait till you see their teachers.
The playground's open at recess and lunchtime. It's going to be cleaned every day.
The first day back and everyone's feeling like they're starting over again. all in good fun to spread the COVID-19 safety guidelines.
A bit of dress-ups, a bit of dancing, a bit of humour, just to lighten the load a little bit, but we're getting messages out that way.
Now we're going to eat at the tables because we won't be sitting on the floor for a while.
We've staggered the starts for half our school at a time through the day, different playtimes for different groups of students. We'll make sure that all the students have their own drink bottles.
While this grade 1 classroom will be filled with dozens of excited children tomorrow, many other schoolrooms will remain empty, with years 3 to 10 sticking with remote learning for another fortnight before they too can return from June 9. For Everly, you get the sense she'd sleep in her uniform tonight if it meant getting back to school even a minute earlier.
She'll be up early, ready to go, probably dressed.
Yeah, she will skip away and not even look back at the car.
Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
Annie Kearney joins us live now. Annie, as schools implement coronavirus measures, what's the latest on cases across the state?
There were 2 new cases reported overnight, Jen, bringing the state's total to 1,605. Both of those cases were returned travellers who are now in hotel quarantine. So that's good news in terms of no new community transmission cases and no new cases linked to those big clusters we've seen at Cedar Meats and the McDonald's in the northern suburbs. That's all good signs ahead of thousands of Victorian school kids returning to the classroom tomorrow, and authorities will be hoping it stays that way ahead of even more joining them in a fortnight.
OK, thank you very much, Annie. Our tourism industry could be in line for more federal government support thanks to the $60 billion JobKeeper bungle. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg's hinted at the move but ruled out help for other struggling industries.
Keeping up with the Morrison ministry has been chaotic these past few days.
I didn't use any expletives.
The economic team hustling hard to explain the $60 billion JobKeeper blunder.
That health miracle has had a real economic benefit.
Well, I mean, firstly, it was an estimate.
They incorrectly filled in a form.
But at the end of the day...
And of course, I take responsibility for the estimates variation.
The estimated cost of the program has been nearly halved from $130 billion to about $70 billion.
The biggest error made in any budget by any government at any point.
It means the actual number of workers receiving support is closer to 3.5 million, not 6.5 million initially touted by the government.
Because of this stuff-up, there is now absolutely no excuse to exclude workers at Australian universities from getting access to JobKeeper payments.
But the program won't be expanded.
There is no money to be reallocated.
Be brutal about it. It's like finding out you've got an extra $20,000 on your credit card. You just say, oh, beauty, I'll go out and buy a heap of good electrical goods and clothes, and this money's got to be paid back.
There are, however, positive signs for the struggling tourism industry.
The tourism sector could be one sector that's going to be in need of further support, and that's what we will look at.
New figures also show 1/3 of those accessing their superannuation early are under the age of 30.
The government is in many ways robbing them of a decent retirement.
The Prime Minister will address the National Press Club tomorrow, where he's expected to outline how he plans to get the economy out of intensive care through reforms to skills and industrial relations. And reiterate the government won't borrow from future generations what it can't return in higher standards of living. Tegan George for 10 News First.
It was the end of an era today in the Latrobe Valley, with the 8 chimneys at the Hazelwood Power Station reduced to dust. Many in the town had worked at the plant, so it was no surprise they lined the streets to watch Hazelwood's last hurrah.
55 years of history wiped from the skyline in a matter of minutes. Not in one huge explosion, but one at a time, tumbling down in sequence like a giant set of dominoes.
For some people, this event represents change and renewal. For others, it's the end of an era.
Locals lined the streets to see the final clouds billow up from this Morwell landmark.
sad to see the old girl go.
My dad worked there for 30-odd years and my brother worked there and my brother-in-law worked there.
The Hazelwood powered the Latrobe Valley economy for more than half a century until its closure 3 years ago.
I had 33 years of shift work at Hazelwood.
Each of the 8 towers stood 137 metres tall. In a world concerned with climate change and clean power, this was the perfect metaphor for an industry in decline.
I think it represents something, the end of an era, maybe the beginning of a new era.
Over the next decade, the plan is to turn this area into agricultural land and a recreational site, starting with building a lake in the coal hole for irrigation, fishing and water sports. But with this area being 17 kilometres around, it's going to take 11 years to fill.
It's our aspiration and hope that one day before too long, they can take a boat to a full pit lake here behind me and tell the kids and the grandkids about the work they did here.
But first, the big clean-up following the biggest blow-up Latrobe has ever seen. Natasha Rexelby for 10 News First.
Geelong midfielder Jack Stephen returned to training today, little more than a week after the stabbing incident that landed him in hospital. The star recruit was all smiles as he took a stroll several times around Cardinia Park. The exact circumstances surrounding the stabbing remain unknown.
How is the recovery?
Yeah, I'm fine. So just looking forward to getting back out there and mucking around.
It's still unclear if Stephen will be ruled fit to play in round 2. A police investigation into the stabbing incident is ongoing. And the AFL has finally confirmed the fixture for the next 4 rounds of the season. Rob Waters joins us live now. Rob, it should be an exciting take 2 on the season from June 11.
Yes, Jen, it's going to be great. And the AFL today announced its fixture from rounds 2 to round 5, and then it plans to release rounds 6 and 7 following round 3. Now, it's only sort of tiptoeing its way through the fixture to try and remain as flexible as possible, just in case South Australia and Western Australia open their borders earlier than planned. So here it is. Here's round 2. It starts with Richmond and Collingwood, as we expected, on June 11. Huge blockbuster game at the MCG. Round 2 will also feature another huge game the Friday night, where Hawthorn is travelling down the highway to play Geelong. That'll be the first time they've played down there in some 15 years. And the other big game of round 2 involves the Adelaide teams. Adelaide and also Port Adelaide are playing the showdown. That's essentially so they can delay their move north for a further week. Thursday night footy is back in a big way. Each of this block of fixtures has a Thursday night game. Richmond feature heavily in those. They're going to play 3 of them, and they're trialling Sunday night football with the Hawks copping a couple of Sunday night matches. The AFL also said today that they haven't given up on the notion of crowds attending games at some stage later in the year.
If that changes, we'll be the first to embrace that, whether it's in a sense where we can fill stadiums or there's something in between that and what we're used to. We're not sure yet. Any opportunity to have fans attend games, and I'm sure clubs would love to find a way to reward members or fans.
If by some miracle we get through the season without any further delays, the AFL announced today that the grand final will be played on October the 24th.
All good news. Thank you very much, Rob. Now, with plenty more footy news, here's Stephen previewing sport.
Thank you, Jen. Contact training returned today. We'll watch the Tigers and the Magpies go through their paces. The Cats have a big win with the fixturing, but the Hawks cop the Sunday graveyard shift. And boy, oh boy, a bad day at the office for this NASCAR driver.
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First, unearthing our past, the surprise find shedding light on Melbourne life in the mid-1800s. And the smart charity initiative helping the homeless and struggling restaurant workers at the same time.
The good old MasterChef relay.
It'll be the toughest team relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of 1.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
Oh my God. I can't believe I've done this. I've cut my little finger. Oh, this is not good. This is not good.
The toughest team relay. 7:30 tonight on 10.
And MasterChef's greatest ever dish is coming.
Introducing BP Rewards. Earn BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards.
Or choose to earn Qantas points.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. Your rewards, your way.
Oh.
Hi. Hi, Mum, it's me. I'm just checking in.
Oh, hi, darling. Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's a video call, so move the phone away from your ear.
No, away on.
Can't see you. Oh, yeah, there you are. Hi. So good to see your face, Mum.
You too, dear.
You don't need Australia's best network until you do.
A game down the park is great, but with relationships, I'll get serious. That's why I trust eHarmony.
No one can connect you with high-quality singles like eHarmony. That's why every 14 minutes, someone finds love on eHarmony. Start free today.
There you go, swagger.
Steve? Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new Tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients like huge pepperoni, chunkier tomato sauce and a thinner New York crust. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Whether you're turning portraits into paintings and floors into art rooms, we're here for all those messy little moments.
Right now at Carpet Call, you can take 50% off. Yes, 50% off all rugs purchased at carpetcall.com.au. Range, quality and price. That's why for over 40 years, Carpet Call are
the experts in the trade.
Tonight, Hayley, Mick and Anne are ready to rumble with Ed and Sam. On You, have you been paying attention?
Welcome back. Treasures of Melbourne's marvellous past have been unearthed in the heart of the city. The artefacts predate the gold rush, and now developers are trying to work out how to showcase them in a 65-storey apartment tower.
The ruins of Melbourne's past, rare sand and bluestone footings from a series of cottages, now flattened to make way for a skyscraper.
It's a really rare site in terms of its date. We don't have many archaeological sites that predate the gold rush period.
The block on King Street contained up to 50,000 trinkets, all troweled out over 2 months by a dedicated team.
Extremely methodical, so it's a lot of work to get a site to this point by hand.
Notable items include a torpedo glass bottle.
Got the name Fitzroy embossed on it, so it's obviously made here in Melbourne. Probably dates to about the 1870s.
There's a name tag, likely from a young student from a ladies' school, on the site. Ink bottles, coins and even marbles were discovered. Archaeologists say when these foundations were laid, roughly in the 1840s, Melbourne's population was 75,000. By 1860, it was 7 times that, 500,000. The reason was the gold rush.
Here is an insight into Melbourne before this period of rapid growth. This is Melbourne when it's probably struggling to survive. The question mark whether the city will even make it as a modern city.
A question answered by the lavish designs for the 65-floor apartment tower, which could house a permanent display.
We're also excited and exploring the opportunity to bring some of that into our development.
Solving the dilemma of preserving history. Simon Love for 10 News First.
Experts have warned last summer's horror bushfire season that left 33 people dead is likely to be repeated again and again. The dire prediction came at the first day of the Bushfire Royal Commission.
For those who lived it, the sights and sounds of our summer of bushfires are as vivid now as they were then.
The wall of flames were on three sides of him, and he decided then that he couldn't do anything further.
Sue Townsend and her husband lost their home in Tumblewumba. Those firestorms also destroyed dozens of homes in nearby Batlow. She says confusion and red tape made finding temporary accommodation difficult.
It was really bedlam because people were in shock.
The Royal Commission was today told fire seasons like this one won't be a one-off event.
The trends probably load the dice towards worse fire seasons in general. So unless it rains a lot in 2021, you would expect, on average, to have a significant fire season.
The Commission heard our bushfires came after 3 years of significantly reduced rainfall on the east coast, combined with some of the highest temperatures on record. And with Australia and the world warming, we should expect natural disasters to get worse.
There's an element of locked in, that some of these are locked in because of emissions that we've already had, yes.
Experts say, mercifully, this year's bushfire season is unlikely to be as bad as last because we've already had more rain. But the Royal Commission today heard that preparations for it have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The recovery from the devastating impacts of the 2019-2020 bushfire season has been slowed and fragmented. Planning for future seasons appears to have been interrupted.
In the midst of a pandemic, it's easy to forget those still hurting and just what might be coming next. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Well, let's take a look at the traffic now. Jess Miller has the best view from the chopper.
Thank you so much, Jen. Just near the city in the Keyte traffic chopper, looking at Queen's Road because there was a crash here earlier which caused massive delays. We are seeing improvements, fortunately. Definitely not the standstill we had about an hour ago. This is past Albert Park, city-bound, bit stop and go on the lead up to Kingsway still. But in case you were planning on travelling through here, you will save yourself a couple of minutes by using St Kilda Road. That's looking extremely quiet both ways. Back soon with more traffic. Jen?
Thank you, Jess. Well, we know the hospitality industry is doing it tough, but some of our best-loved restaurants are reaping the benefits of a clever charity initiative. They're helping to feed our homeless and, in turn, their kitchens stay open and workers keep their jobs.
Empty restaurants mean owners are selling anything they can to get by as the cost of COVID stacks up. Enter Street Smart, a charity paying restaurants to cook for those who can't afford it.
It is by the public donations that give this campaign legs and is both feeding people and saving jobs.
It works like this. The program pays restaurants to prepare the food. Charities collect the meals and give them to the needy.
This has been fantastic for us because it's allowed us to keep employing our temporary visa holders who have fallen through the cracks with the government.
So far, people have donated $100,000 to the project and 10 award-winning restaurants are taking part.
The ability to deliver a meal to someone and smile, connect and say, "Are you okay?" and know that they're going home with a hot slice of pizza from Ladro or somewhere that they would normally never touch is wonderful.
And I think that probably helps the people who receive these, that someone does actually care about them as well, rather than just the standard sort of soup kitchen.
The demand for smart meals has skyrocketed as more and more people feel the economic pinch of COVID-19. Many people who never in their life would have imagined they need a service like this.
Suddenly, huge trauma in their lives, no money, no income, coming to the door for the first time saying, "I don't know where to go."
The economy may be volatile, but kindness is a constant.
So we're just grateful beyond words.
Natasha Exelby for 10 News First.
Great idea. Well, ahead in 10 News First, pool party time in America, social distancing rules abandoned despite the country heading for a grim milestone. And Jacinda Ardern on shaky ground but keeps her cool during a media interview.
And it was beautiful today, even better tomorrow, but again a chilly start to the day. Details shortly.
One in 3 Australians are reaping the benefits of cutting out or cutting back on meat. Get your free veg starter kit at vegkit.com. Sometimes an answer is there 1 minute and gone the next.
Glenn, how have you been coping with lockdown?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, let's see what Nick, Hayley and Anne have to say with Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention tonight.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
This is for the hundreds of thousands of folks that keep racing going. Aussies just like us that love it. And unlike any of our overseas competitors, every bet you have with TAB goes towards funding 75% of the Aussie industry and the people that keep them running. Yeah, that's worth backing. TAB. Long may we play.
Know when to stop, don't go over the top, gamble responsibly.
Don't miss our biggest sale yet. It's Bridgestone Select's mega sale. 4th tyre free on big Bridgestone brands and car and SUV tyres to suit most vehicles. Plus cash back on jeweller. You're always in safe hands at your local Bridgestone Select.
Being stuck at home doesn't have to mean being stuck for things to do. Because if you take a look around, there's inspiration everywhere. Ryobi One Plus. One plus U equals endless possibilities. Available at bunnings.com.au.
Can't wait to get back to the footy. Oh, so good. Oh, there's been a spill. He picks up the crumbs, goes left, goes right. He's done it back in the bathroom.
Hot food, just $3 at 7-Eleven.
There you go, Swagger.
Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new Tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients like huge pepperoni, chunkier tomato sauce and a thinner New York crust. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Well, what's for dinner?
Soup.
I hate soup.
Okay. Stew.
Ooh, stew.
Well, you decide then.
Anything you want is fine.
When you need to snap out of it, have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Hyundai's end of financial year sale is on. Get great value across our eye-catching range. Like the Hyundai i30 hatch with the confidence of a 7-year warranty. And end of financial year bonuses on selected SUVs, including the Hyundai Tucson. And 7-seat petrol V6 Hyundai Santa Fe. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
Red alert, we've got a new sports bet offer.
This Wednesday with Sportsbet at 3 tracks for races 1 to 4, finish 2nd or 3rd and get up to $50 back in bonus bets. That's 12 races with Sportsbet.
It's the toughest team relay. And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other.
You're watching 10 News First. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is standing by his top advisor, who was accused of travelling across England and visiting a castle during lockdown. Dominic Cummings now faces a police investigation as scientists and the PM's own political allies turn on him for backing the rule breaker.
Arriving at the UK Prime Minister's office in track pants, Dominic Cummings wasn't dressed to impress as his boss jumps through hoops to save his prized advisor.
He behaved responsibly and correctly.
But few believe that. Dominic Cummings, who masterminded Brexit, a thumping election victory and the UK's lockdown, left his London home during the height of the pandemic to stay at his parents' sprawling country estate, a 4-hour drive from London.
Did you want me to resign, Mr Cummings? Have you undermined the government's message?
He says it was for his kids.
Looking at the very severe childcare difficulties that presented themselves to Dominic Cummings and his family, I think that what they did was totally understandable.
He's offering no apology.
Why are you guys not social distancing?
A stickler for the rules now, he's also accused of travelling to visit this castle for his wife's birthday, all while 66 million other Brits are banned from visiting loved ones or saying farewell to dying relatives.
You must stay at home.
Protesters played Boris Johnson's stay-at-home message outside Mr Cummings' residence. The UK civil service account tweeted, then deleted. Arrogant and offensive. Can you imagine having to work with these truth twisters?
If I were Prime Minister, I'd have sacked Cummings.
Boris Johnson's strong support for Dominic Cummings shows just how powerful a man he is here at Downing Street, but it's done nothing to take the heat out of this crisis. The police are now investigating an official complaint about the breach of the lockdown laws as the death toll from the virus itself climbs towards 37,000 here in the UK. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
And the United States is closing in on the terrible milestone of 100,000 coronavirus deaths. But there won't be a moment of national mourning. Instead, President Trump's been on the golf course as more Americans ignore restrictions.
Memorial Day long weekend in America, and this is what social distancing apparently looks like in some parts of the United States. Thousands packed pool parties in the Ozarks for the unofficial start of summer, and there wasn't a mask in sight. In Daytona, police had to break up an impromptu street party.
There's two people out the sunroof throwing money.
Beaches were busy right up and down both coasts.
There was thousands of people. I mean, shoulder to shoulder, it felt like.
Thousands lined up at this Texas water park that reopened, defying state orders, and many churches across the country also breached restrictions after Donald Trump deemed them essential.
Church is essential.
The president was out golfing for a second day as the US death toll nears 100,000. I care, do you? Read one protester's sign outside. In an interview,
they're spying on me. They're spying on me. And that's not being paranoid, that's being fact.
The president offered no signs of mourning.
Would I shut it down again? No, because we understand it now much better. We didn't know anything about it. It was new.
You mean you would not have, in retrospect, shut down the...
I would have done exactly, we've done the exact moves that I would have done.
And on the national holiday to remember those who served, this Vietnam vet cried as he watched a socially distant parade given in his honour.
It was amazing. I mean, even though I'm sick, that they thought so much of me to come down and do that pass-through for me.
58,000 Americans died in the Vietnam War. In 4 months, this virus has already killed so many more. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Much of New Zealand has been shaken by a large earthquake, throwing stock from shelves and even rattling the Prime Minister. Jacinda Ardern was in the Beehive and live on TV when the 5.8 magnitude quake struck.
We're just having a bit of an earthquake here, Ryan. Quite a decent shake here.
All right.
But if you see things moving behind me...
Has it stopped,
The
Prime
Beehive
Minister?
moves a little more than most.
The quake was centred north of Wellington near Leven and was quickly followed by 4 aftershocks, the strongest a 4.4 magnitude. Well, now here's Mike, and we've had a cool day, but there was plenty of sunshine.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Well, after a sometimes soggy weekend, we've now had around 67 millimetres of rain in Melbourne, well above the monthly average for May. Well, this time next week, you'll be able to pop into your favourite galleries like the National Gallery Victoria, museums, institutions, even the zoo. OK, it was a chilly old start to the day, just 5 degrees in Melbourne this morning, 5 again tomorrow morning. But I tell you what, we were rewarded with a glorious day today. Fine blue skies, 16 degrees. Tomorrow even warmer still, and then we've got showers on the way. I've got the forecast in full in around half an hour's time, and also your chance to win a year's worth of groceries. How good is that? Jen?
Thank you, Mike. Still to come, we'll update all the day's top stories. And disturbing new research reveals type 2 diabetics are at greater risk of cancer and dementia.
It's the toughest Tim relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of 1.
And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
The toughest team relay, tonight on 10.
Hi guys, notice anything? Oh, look at these grapes.
days. For a second I thought, okay, Grace, I'm ready to see you. But I'm not. I am not ready for this much grey.
Excellence Creme by L'Oreal Paris.
I don't think there's ever going to be a better before and after.
3 steps for 100% grey coverage and rich, radiant color.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Boom! Is what I'm talking about. Self-care is self-worth, because now, more than ever, we're all worth it.
If you've been injured at work, on the road, or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop, including your income. With Slater & Gordon, you can check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes. We'll manage your claim so you can focus on what's really important, getting your future started again. With Slater & Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of 2 $1.5 million grand prizes. Every ticket sold helps us support thousands of Victorians living with multiple sclerosis. People like Lydia.
Through MS Limited, I access NDIS support. That just gave me the freedom to not worry about it. It was great.
You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
Hi, mate.
Hey, Dad.
How's the new place?
Yeah, it's really good.
What have you been up to?
Not much. No, I miss you guys. Can you believe it? I actually miss your cooking too.
I don't miss a thing. I got the new Woolies Rewards app.
Now you'll never miss an offer with everything in one place. Track your points, view your Woolworths e-receipts, and you can access your personalised offers so you save even more.
I do miss you, mate.
It's the brand new way to get your Woolies worth.
That's why I pick Woolies.
This is for the hundreds of thousands of folks that keep racing going. Aussies just like us that love it. And unlike any of our overseas competitors, every bet you have with TAB goes towards funding 75% of the Aussie industry and the people that keep them running. Yeah, that's worth backing. TAB. Long may we play.
Know when to stop, don't go over the top. Gamble responsibly.
Staying at home every day is hard, but it's never a good reason for abuse. For more information, visit respectvictoria.vic.gov.au. Supported by the Victorian Government.
Tonight, Hayley, Mick and Anne are ready to rumble with Ed and Sam. On You, Have You Been Paying Attention?
This is 10 News First. Alarming results from a new study of type 2 diabetics reveal they have a dramatically higher risk of suffering deadly cancers and dementia. It's prompted a warning to patients not to skip blood tests or visits to the doctor.
Robert Miller has always been vigilant about keeping his type 2 diabetes under control.
My father had diabetes and he didn't look after himself and unfortunately had to have both legs amputated below the knee.
But the real wake-up call came 3 years ago when the 79-year-old grandfather was diagnosed with bowel cancer.
You could have it out, or if you left it in, you'd be dead in 6 months. That was the diagnosis.
A study of more than 2 million people reveals the ever-expanding list of conditions that type 2 diabetics are susceptible to. They're 60% more likely to develop dementia and face an alarming risk of cancer, including a 300% higher chance of pancreatic cancer and a 200% increased likelihood of liver cancer.
Cancer cells use a lot of sugar, a lot of glucose. And so in people with diabetes, the sugar levels are high, and so there's lots of fuel around for those cancer cells to grow more rapidly.
Doctors say regular checkups can be life-saving, and they've warned patients not to skip or delay medical appointments during the coronavirus pandemic.
We need to keep these things going, otherwise we'll pay the price next year.
Mr. Miller had surgery to remove his cancer and is now even more focused on staying healthy with a good diet and plenty of exercise.
You just assume you're going to be healthy, and it's not until, to use your good word, that wake-up call arrives that you realise that you can't take it for granted and you have to be proactive.
Estelle Lewis for 10 News First.
Australians dug deep this summer, helping to raise more than $50 million in bushfire relief in an online campaign from Aussie comedian Celeste Barber. But hopes the money could be shared more widely than the New South Wales RFS have been dashed today after the Supreme Court ruled the money, which belongs to the organisation's trust, cannot be shared with other charities, fire brigades in other states, or to those who've lost their homes. Well, let's take another look at our roads. It's back up to the traffic chopper with Jess Miller.
Thanks so much, Jen. We've made our way out west in the Keyte traffic chopper. Have a look at the Western Freeway. Normally pretty good through here, but outbound seems to be slowing significantly right out to Rockbank. Heavy going from back at the Deer Park bypass, just near Robinson's Road. And the only other freeway causing grief at the moment is the Monash Freeway. That is a struggle outbound just between Belgrave Hallam Road and Ernest Wanky Road, with reports of a collision through there. Back soon with more traffic, Jen.
Thank you, Jess. 4 of Melbourne Zoo's youngest residents hit a milestone today with the otter pups heading out for their first swimming lesson. The 15-week-old Asian small-clawed otters have spent the past few months exclusively on land. But their parents decided it was time the 3 brothers and 1 sister learned the most critical of otter skills. And as you can see, they took to it like otters to water. Swimming class over, the students all earned an A+, and no doubt a fishy treat for dinner. Well, now here's Stephen with Monday's Sport, and stage 1 of the footy fixture is out.
It is, Jen. The Tigers and the Maggies will kick things off as Thursday night footy returns with a vengeance. The Cats get their wish with some familiar foes forced to trek to Cardinia Park. Also, Jack Stephen hits the training track. And in the NFL, he's the GOAT. But how does Tom Brady travel on a golf course against the big boys?
Browse hundreds of delicious plant-based recipes online at vegkit.com.
Why the MasterChef judges weren't hooked on Tracy's fish dish next.
It's the show that turns headlines into punchlines.
Kitty, how did you know to wear the same fabric as Malcolm's curtain?
So, who the biggest laughs on TV?
Can I just have the answer, Tom?
It's going to be a long season, folks.
Make sure you're paying attention tonight.
Introducing Jumpstart by Light and Easy, the simple program that will help fast-track your weight loss success, improve your health, and have your taste buds jumping for joy. Jumpstart your weight loss and health goals today with Light and Easy.
Harris Scarf's giant June sale is now on. Take a huge 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, 30 to 50% off all clothing, footwear and underwear, and 20 to 30% off all electrical. Hurry, don't miss out. See in-store or online for details.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new service on the Optus $65 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months with 80 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. That's right. Sign up to a new service on the $65 per month 24-month Optus SIM-only plan and you'll receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card. Offer ends June 30. New services only, not available with other offers. Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer.
Go!
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of 2 $1.5 million grand prizes. Every ticket sold helps us support thousands of Victorians living with multiple sclerosis. People like Lydia.
Through MS Limited, I access NDIS support. That just gave me the freedom to not worry about it. It was great.
You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
If you've been injured at work, on the road or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop. Check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
Catch the Supercars stars taking on the world's best drivers and tracks in the BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. Qualifying from 6 p.m, racing from 7. Live every Wednesday where you get your motorsport fix.
Controversy here in the forgot a grocery bag lifting. Russia disqualified. Unexpected item in the bagging area.
He tried to put that Evo through as a brown onion and got busted.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of school lunchboxes. With Coles Bakery Rolls 6-pack or loaf, just $2 every day. Coles Colby cheese slices 250-gram pack, $4.20 every day. Coles yogurt pouches, just 75 cents every day. And if you spend $150 in one transaction at Coles online, you'll save $10. Just enter the promo code COLES10. Offer ends May 26. Home delivery or click and collect, helping make school lunchboxes easier. At Coles, good things, great value.
It's the toughest team relay. And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other.
Good evening. Geelong recruit Jack Stephen has returned to training for the first time since being hospitalised with a stab wound. The former Saint only completed light duties on day one, but says he's feeling healthy and is keen to push for selection.
Little more than a week after presenting at the Alfred Hospital with a stab wound, Jack Stephen was back on the comeback trail and in good spirits.
Yeah, I'm fine. So just looking forward to getting back out there and mucking around.
Everyone seemed to be smiling. The boys loved it having you back.
I think so. You'd have to ask them, but I loved being back out there. So it's good to see them.
The 30-year-old former Saint didn't break a sweat on day one, but they were slow steps in the right direction.
No doubt the last few days have been pretty tough for him from a personal level, so it's nice to be able to have, you know, like us, having a bit of purpose getting back into the football club.
Now, as to whether the four-time St Kilda best and fairest winner will be fit for round 2 of the AFL season, that is still up in the air, but he hasn't closed the door on that completely. Give me a chance for round 2, mate? Look.
I don't know. I just walked laps today, so hard to really tell, but we'll wait and see.
And after years of lobbying from the coach, the Cats received a fixture-free kick from the league this morning, with all home games to be played at Kardinia Park.
They can look forward to hosting some teams down there that they haven't hosted for quite some time, like Hawthorn.
Nice to get some big Victorian clubs down to Geelong who probably, I haven't played Hawthorn down here in my time. I'm not sure when the last game was.
It was back in 2006. Nick Butler for 10 News First.
From today, footballers have their contact hours back. Richmond and Collingwood were among the first to rip in with some contest work and match simulation. Even though round 2 is right around the corner, they're being urged to hold back a little.
There were tackling tigers, high-flying hawks and pies peeling from congestion, as for the first time in a long time, football training looked and sounded like football.
Today is obviously a big day, obviously getting back and training as a full group. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's great fun to be back as a full group, and gives you a bit of a sense that start to the season is rolling around fairly quickly.
It was tiring, so it was great to be back. Awesome feel out there. All the boys are up and about, so looking forward to Friday now, and then, you know, another step closer to playing.
Still, there are reminders everywhere at Tigerland that this is still a drill.
The following is a test of the building's emergency warning and evacuation system.
Just a test.
Please
I don't have to get out
at the following tones.
The players being urged not to push each other too hard in their 2 contact sessions a week.
We need to do some sort of contact, but we obviously don't want to be smashing each other. We know that the fact that the season is shorter and backing up is going to be really important, that we can't go out there and smash blokes into the ground.
There are some injury worries already before the season reopener. Brodie Myercheck only ran laps today, while for Richmond, Basher Hooley is still on the mend from a calf injury.
I'm not sure whether he will put his hand up to play in 2 weeks' time. He's sort of assured me personally that it's not as bad as what it was first reported.
Tim Morgan for 10 News First.
We'll have some more AFL shortly, but now to rugby league. And resting Cam Smith is part of Melbourne Storm's plan to get through the NRL's revamped season. With no buys in 2020, the club says it's exploring a number of ways to freshen players up over the remaining 18 rounds.
You know, having lighter load weeks and maybe giving the players added days off throughout that period. But at the same time, It's hard to say that you're going to go and rest players when you don't know what the healthiest squad's going to be.
Christian Welch is a chance to return for the Storm on Saturday night after missing the start of the season with a knee injury. Six-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady does have a chink in his armour after all. The star quarterback had a round to forget in golf's Champions for Charity event, although he did manage to produce one all-star moment.
A four-ball for the ages. Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning pitted against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. There were no caddies, but if there were...
You know, do you bring Eli? Could do that. You bring Nick Foles? Maybe. Cheap shot.
The ribbing was relentless all day. Brady butchered his start. He struggled off the tee.
Yikes. Hey, when's football season start? It's about a month.
Proving he's human after all, and the world relished every minute.
God dang it.
While Brady went bush, Peyton proved pretty handy, making 2 birdies on the front 9 as he and Woods went 3 up through 6.
Bam! Oh, Peyton Manning. Partner.
It was the first time in 3 months anyone's got a look at Tiger on the course, with the PGA Tour set to resume in a fortnight. He didn't miss a fairway and was just as sharp with his tongue.
I've seen Phil do some odd things before, but having teed up mark that ball has got to be up there.
Want me to use one of my U.S. Open medals?
Do you have one?
Huh?
Do you have any? I got some silver ones. Do you have any of the gold ones?
He didn't have it all his own way.
Yeah. Did you feel when I sucked the energy toward me, Tiger?
And it was Brady who had the last laugh when Brooks Koepka pledged $100,000 if the star quarterback made par on the front 9. Brady did what Brady does best.
Oh, go in! Goodness! You made it!
But it came at a cost.
Change pants or? I split my pants.
You got so excited that you split your pants after making that?
Well, there's so much torque in that swing.
Oh, gotcha.
Woods and Manning finished 1 up, but the result never really mattered, with $20 million US raised for COVID-19 relief. Keyte Price for 10 News First.
Now back to footy, and as we saw at the top of the news, the AFL has released the next 4 rounds of the 2020 fixture, with Thursday night football featuring heavily. While the WA and South Australian teams are sacrificing for the greater good of the game in the early part of the season, the AFL has warned Victorian teams they will head to interstate hubs if the borders remain closed.
The West Australian and South Australian clubs are doing the early heavy lifting, but the AFL has warned they won't be the only ones.
My sense is over the 16 weeks that teams, not just those 4 teams, but other teams are going to have to make sacrifices, and everyone's committed to that.
Which means some Victorian teams will head to an interstate hub to share the load if border restrictions aren't eased. The 4 WA and South Australian clubs are expected to stay in Queensland, even if measures change between now and the season's start.
The plan at the moment is certainly to leave them in Queensland for that period, and we need to create some certainty. What it does do, though, is we know that they're only there for the 4-week period if those regulations do change, and we can quickly move to scheduling them back in their home state.
So round 2 kicks off with Collingwood and Richmond and features the Hawks and Cats and the Showdown. Round 3 has Richmond hosting Hawthorn on a Thursday night, with the Lions hosting the Eagles at the Gabba on Saturday. The Swans host the Dogs at the SCG to kick off round 4. The Giants welcome the Magpies the following night. And there's another big Queensland hub match, with Port Adelaide playing West Coast. Richmond travels to Queensland to play West Coast to start round 5 again on a Thursday night. Collingwood and Essendon feature Friday night, while Hawthorn plays its 2nd consecutive Sunday night match against the Giants as part of an AFL experiment.
This is a real opportunity to trial some things. It works, or has worked in round 1 without crowds. The question would be, if we do have the ability for crowds to come back at some stage during the season, or certainly next year, does it still work in every market? I'm not sure.
And the AFL hasn't given up on crowds at the footy this year in some form.
Any opportunity to have fans attend games, and I'm sure clubs would love to find a way to reward members or fans if they're smaller groups, we'll certainly embrace.
Rob Borders for 10 News First.
When you're battling to use a brolly, it's probably a good indication that it's going to be your best day. First, Clint Boyer was forced to dodge the rain, then run from the flames.
14's in the wall.
Oh, Boyer has hit it hard.
I'm going to go somewhere and take this thing off, find somewhere I can find a cold beer. I'm out of here.
Hopefully he did raise that beer and toast for Brad Keselowski, who took out NASCAR's longest ever race. The Belarusian Premier League has enjoyed a surge in popularity in recent months, given it has been one of the few competitions to continue during the pandemic. And those new fans are unlikely to forget their first cup final, which was won in the 121st minute. The 1-0 triumph was Bates' fourth cup success, but probably the first anyone outside of Belarus has taken notice of. It certainly caught our attention, so much so the extra time winner can also score our play of the day. That's all from me, Jen. I shall see you shortly.
OK, thank you, Stephen. Coming up, it's Mike's weather, and so much for the gloom. It's been a beautiful sunny day.
Comedian Troy Kinney's bringing the laughs next on The Project.
Tonight, the race is on. At 7:30, it's MasterChef's toughest team relay ever.
Here they come.
Then the race continues, but are they paying attention?
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Can we get Glenn's carer around?
Be a part of Tam's must-see Monday race.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause I'm not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Design, performance, exceptional value. A Mazda stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a Mazda CX-3 Neo Sport from $23,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers now.
More home loan brokers with more ways to help you, giving you even more reasons to smile wherever you are. Talk to me or your broker today.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
We believe experiencing life helps build your child's immunity and resilience. That's why we've developed Aptamil Toddler. With scientifically proven ingredients that nutritionally support their immune system and cognitive function. Build their resilience every day. Aptamil Toddler. Raise them resilient.
You want to make your backyard a place where you want to hang out with your friends. Barbecue, outdoor furniture, put a bit of greenery in there to liven up the place, some cushions, and you're set for entertaining.
Get set for entertaining at home.
It was this photo that she put up of me online. And I was sort of like, why didn't you tell me I was losing my hair?
I thought he knew.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley & Martin could help regrow your hair.
Different is making rather than buying, and saving rather than discarding. Embrace different and find the glad in it.
Welcome back. Now it's over to Mike for all the weather details.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening once again. And before we talk about the weather, just a quick mention of a fabulous new competition. We are very, very excited. It's your chance to win a year's worth of groceries by simply watching 10 News. So just keep watching, and in a short while there'll be a code word. Can't give too much away, but you may see the words MasterChef and Coles. OK, but that's a little later in the news. A couple of fabulous photos now that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. Look at this. Talk about cute. You want cute. This little fella is 8-week-old King Charles Cavalier Michael. And Michael there assisting Caroline with her social media in Collingwood. And Coco Lossell in Box Hill South, ready to tap away. Where's that mouse? Yeah, thank you, Trish. So it was a chilly old start to your day. 5 degrees in town this morning. Ooh, that was cold. And then it was a glorious afternoon, sunny and 16 degrees. Outside right now, it's 12 degrees. The humidity is 60% and the wind a very light southeasterly. Around Melbourne today, have a look at Mount Dandenong. Single figures warming up nicely. 6 this morning, 11 this afternoon. Across our state, well, first up over the weekend, close to 50 millimetres of rain fell in the far east at Mallacoota. Temperature-wise today, 18 degrees the max in Rutherglen. And it was -1 this morning at Falls Creek. The ski season, June 22. I bet they're sharpening their blades and everything right now. Around the country today, May 25. 7 months until Christmas. Can't come quick enough, can it? Over in Perth today, 17, Adelaide 15, Hobart chilly 11 degrees, Brisbane 25, glorious, Sydney 16 degrees, massive waves over the weekend, towering 10 metres, attracting the likes of world champion Kelly Slater. And in Canberra, where a guy went to Coles and swapped 50 raisins for 100 sultanas. Can't believe the current exchange rate, 14 degrees. The weather charts, wild weather in WA. A cold front from the southwest linking up with ex-cyclone Manga for widespread damage, homes without power, uprooting trees. The rainfall chart, that impressive cloud to our west after attacking WA is petering out. We may see showers Wednesday and Thursday. Our next serious cold front on Sunday. Interstate up to Sydney tomorrow, rain and 19 degrees. They've had around 10 mils today, a further 15 or more tomorrow. Brisbane again glorious, so let's forget about them. Across our state, isolated showers in East Gippsland, otherwise dry. Fog and frost to make the morning feel even colder. Have a look at some of those minimums. They include a lonely 1 in Ballarat and Wangaratta. Lots of 2s and 3s. You'll be, I think, throwing on your puffer jacket before you pop outside to feed the pets. Then lovely and sunny, generally the mid to high teens. No wind warnings tonight or tomorrow. Around Melbourne again, chilly. A chilly morning. Could be a struggle getting out of bed for kids' first day back at school. And that includes -1 in the Yarra Valley, just 2 at the likes of Tulla and Watsonia. And out on the bays, east northeasterly winds, light winds, just 10 knots, waves about 1 metre. And now for our city, slowly coming back to life. Clear skies tonight for a cold start to your day. Down to about 5 degrees in Melbourne, so just like this morning. But this time there'll be some frosts about the outer suburbs, maybe some morning fog to hide in, kids, and then also some morning cloud. After that, at Perla. Lovely, sunny at 18 degrees. Pop outside with your sandwich and grab some vitamin D. So in Melbourne tomorrow, 5 to a lovely 18 degrees. And then a slight change. Wednesday, 9 to 16, mostly cloudy. It will also be windier, possibly some showers, but if anything, just a couple of mils. Thursday, also 9 to 16, just to be different, mostly cloudy, possible showers. And then the picks of the week, tomorrow and Friday. Friday, 7 to 17 degrees and mainly sunny. And then the all-important weekend, this stage, Saturday, 17 degrees. And then Sunday, bumper, wet and 15. And then Monday, as restrictions ease, it is also day 1 of winter. Cold and wet, only 13 degrees. But forget about that. Tomorrow, lovely and sunny. After a chilly start, enjoy 18 degrees.
Tonight's top stories. We'll cross live for the latest on the terrible hit-run tragedy that's claimed the life of a much-loved former school principal. Time's up for homeschooling as thousands of children across the state get set to head back to the classroom. And they all came tumbling down, one by one. Hazelwood Power Station's 8 towers bite the dust. An accused hit-run driver is in police custody tonight after the death of a highly respected former school principal and mother of 3. Deborah Locko was riding a bike on Beach Road when she was hit from behind. Jade Keyte joins us live now. Jade, what's the situation with the driver?
Jen, good evening to you. The 35-year-old man allegedly behind the wheel of a Holden Commodore involved in this fatal hit and run remains in police custody tonight at Geelong Station, where he will be interviewed by detectives and is likely to be charged. The Armstrong Creek resident is accused of hitting 60-year-old Deborah Locko as she was cycling on Beach Road at Beaumaris around 5:30 p.m. yesterday. Major collision investigators say the driver did not render assistance. Instead, he dumped the car several blocks away, leaving his 2 female passengers and a 1-year-old baby inside the vehicle. The mother of 3, the victim, Deborah Locko, she's being remembered as a passionate educator with an infectious enthusiasm for life and for work. She also lost her husband only 3 years ago. This is what investigators had to say about the crash last night.
I've been doing this a long time now, and it's still find it hard to believe people can be so callous enough to just take off.
Jen, the alleged driver is likely to be charged tonight before facing court tomorrow on some very serious charges and offences.
OK, thank you very much, Jade. Well, thousands of Victorian students are heading back to the classroom tomorrow, ending weeks of homeschooling thanks to the shutdown. Annie Kearney is covering the story for us. Annie, I guess it will be great for everyone to get back to school.
Yeah, I guess it will be, Jen, and you'd imagine there'll be plenty of children struggling to get to sleep tonight, whether because of excitement or perhaps a bit of trepidation about returning to the classroom, with prep, grade 1, grade 2 and year 11 and 12 back to school tomorrow after about 2 months working from home. Now, teachers were back in the classroom today preparing for strict COVID-19 measures that will be put in place, including staggered drop-off and pick-up times, different break times and strict hygiene measures, including lots and lots of hand sanitising and hand washing. Today I caught up with one very eager student, grade 1, Everly Kitchingman. She is keen to get back to Green Hills Primary School tomorrow.
I'm feeling excited. I'm going to see my teacher, my friends and my specialist. I've got my uniform laid out, my bag ready to go. And
you are very ready. Now, you've been wearing that uniform every day while you've been homeschooling, haven't you?
Yes, it helps me remember my school even though I'm at home.
You're going back to Green Hills Primary School tomorrow in Greensboro. What have they told you about what you can and can't do?
I can't hug, high five or handshake, but I can air hug, air high five and air handshake.
As Everly so beautifully demonstrated, things will look a lot different tomorrow, both for how students can play with their friends, but also how classrooms will look, and that's all to try to stop the spread of COVID-19. In the past 24 hours, there were 2 new cases recorded in Victoria. Both were returned travellers who were in hotel quarantine, and that brings the state's total to 1,605. Jen, in terms of those new cases, it is good news with no community transmission cases and no new cases linked to those 2 big outbreaks we've seen at Cedar Meats and the northern suburbs McDonald's. And Jen, that can only be good news with thousands of kids returning to classrooms tomorrow.
It is indeed. Thank you very much, Annie. Well, it's looking a little different down in the Latrobe Valley tonight after Hazelwood Power Station's 8 giant chimney towers came tumbling down. One by one, they were blasted and reduced to dust. Natasha Exelby saw it all happen firsthand.
For more than half a century, the chimney stack has lined the Latrobe Valley skyline, and today locals lined the streets to see the chimneys go up in their final puff of smoke. The explosion was loud, expensive and spectacular. The reason behind the demolition is twofold. Firstly, the rising action to combat climate change and coal mines being an endangered industry. But even more pressing than that, the demolition was vital because the site contains significant amounts of asbestos. And ENGIE is assuring residents today's demolition will not create a health risk.
There's absolutely no risk that asbestos will be anywhere other than on the ground and then ultimately remediated here on site and stored in an approved cell.
Today marks the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new chapter. There are plans for the mining site to be transformed into a lake and recreational site, but the coal hole itself is so big and deep that it's going to take 11 years to fill that with water to make the lake.
Natasha Exelby there. Thousands of rare artefacts predating the gold rush have been discovered at a building site in the city. The developers are now deciding how to incorporate them into a new residential tower. Simon Love has more.
Well, if they're out and about, Melburnians are being encouraged to safely take a peek at this site on the corner of Little Lonsdale Street and King Street. Not only are there foundations of bluestone and sandstone dating back to as early as the 1840s, but thousands of small trinkets have been discovered here. They include a name tag for Mary, who's likely to be a student of Mrs. Bruford, who ran a school for ladies. There's a water bottle shaped like a Sharon with the word Fitzroy on it. Also, a host of rare coins.
So their value, we would say, is in the information they give us. I don't think they've got any real monetary value. Project conservators will be able to clean them up, and we'll certainly be able to get at least a date off them.
Now the items have been discovered, there is a dilemma for the developers who are planning a 65-storey apartment tower. Those behind the Aspire building say they're working on a plan to incorporate the artefacts, maybe in a foyer display.
We're also excited and exploring the opportunity to bring some of that into our development.
The tower is set to be complete in 3 years, but with these discoveries dating back to as early as the 1840s, it's hoped that some of Melbourne's history is preserved for the future.
Simon Love reporting. Well, the struggling tourism industry stands to benefit from the Morrison government's $60 billion JobKeeper blunder. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has ruled out expanding the eligibility criteria to include all casuals and some visa holders. But he says the federal government will look at providing additional support for industries that will take longer to reopen.
The tourism sector could be one sector that's going to be in need of further support, and that's what we will look at.
A review of the program is set down for next month. A massive clean-up's begun in WA after a rare and dangerous storm pummeled the state's coast. The once-in-a-decade weather event involved cyclonic winds along 3,000 kilometres of coast, tearing apart buildings and infrastructure with widespread flooding and erosion.
It certainly was a very rare event for WA because of the large area affected and the areas which were experiencing dangerous weather conditions.
The storm was the result of a tropical cyclone mixing with a low-pressure system off the coast. Thousands of American holidaymakers have marked the first day of summer with huge parties, seemingly totally ignoring social distancing advice. Pool parties in the Ozarks and beaches up and down the coast were packed, while in Daytona, police had to break up a street party after people started throwing money from this white car. President Trump took to the golf course again, but not before making it clear he will not shut the country down again.
Would I shut it down again? No, because we understand it now much better. We didn't know anything about it.
On the day meant to be for those who served America in war, this Vietnam vet was brought to tears by a socially distant parade in his honour. Well, let's get the latest on our traffic. It's back up to Jess Miller in the chopper.
Thank you, Jen. Having a look at Glenroy in the Veg Kit traffic chopper. It is flowing nicely on Pascoe Road past the shops and up to the Ring Road despite earlier delays. And the traffic here moving up the screen, that's actually city-bound, also looking good. For the other end of town, the Monash, after chatting about those delays through Narre Warren, it's actually gotten a whole lot worse city end due to a 4-car nose to tail. That's outbound just near High Street, struggling from back at Toorak Road. Have a great evening, Jen.
Thank you, Jess. Well, we're getting a more accurate picture of which Australians have accessed their superannuation during the crisis. It seems there were more men than women, and half of them were under 35. Here's Charlotte Goodlett.
It was a policy supposed to help us get through COVID-19, and we now have a better idea of exactly who is withdrawing the most money from their super. Concerningly, it is a lot of young people, and that means it could cost them tens of thousands of dollars in retirement. So far, about $10.6 billion has been paid out, and of the 1.59 million applications received by the ATO, the majority have been accepted. The average amount accessed is just over $7.5 grand out of a maximum $10 grand this financial year, and men are taking out the most, about 40% or $2 billion more than women. And that makes sense when we look at the difference in accounts. Men have about $333,000 in super compared to $245,000 for women at the age of 55 to 64. But one of the most shocking statistics, as we mentioned, were young people the most likely to take out money, under 35, accounting for half of all claims. Let's take a look at the share market now. It's a strong performance across the board today. The ASX 200 finishing up about 2.16%. The travel sector was among the high flyers after the Treasurer hinted at some extra support for the tourism sector. Webjet and Flight Centre both up by about 15%. Afterpay surged too, and 3 of of the big banks had strong gains. CBA was the worst performer of the four, but still ended in the green. Taking a look at the dollar now, the currency market isn't moving too much, but right now the Australian dollar is buying 65.2 US cents.
Charlotte Goodlett reporting. Well, the Middle Brighton Pier has been shut off to all users because of concerns about the structure's safety. The closure means people with boats moored at the pier can only access them via the water. Structural testing will be undertaken before urgent repair work can be done. Parks Victoria has set aside close to $1 million to repair a section constructed in 1977, which provides access to the Royal Brighton Yacht Club Marina. Well, Stephen's back now, and footy will return with a bang.
Sure will, Jen. It's the Tigers versus the Pies and the Cats and the Hawks at Cardinia Park as the AFL reboots in just over a fortnight. But it may not be all smooth sailing for the Victorian clubs as the season wears on. And Jack's back on track. But when will the troubled recruit be right to play again?
Australians are reaping the benefits of cutting out or cutting back on meat. Get your free veg starter kit at vegkit.com.
Where the $51 million raised during the bushfire crisis by celeb Celeste Barber will be spent. Plus, comedian Troy Kinney joins us for a laugh next.
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? Pino Clean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
HelloFresh. Choose delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned, fresh ingredients and step-by-step recipes. Now you can focus on what's really important, spending time together. Order your box today and share delicious moments with HelloFresh. HelloFresh. Inspiration delivered.
I'll say for those things. Shame.
Toyota value stays with you. Like Hilux 4x4 SR5 Auto. Drive away from $53,990. Older feeling. Toyota.
When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
Don't miss our biggest sale yet. It's Bridgestone Select's mega sale. 4th tyre free on big Bridgestone brands and car and SUV tyres to suit most vehicles. Plus cash back on jeweller. You're always in safe hands at your local Bridgestone Select.
Even at the best of times, finding a good job can be hard. And the same goes for finding and keeping good employees. That's why JobKeeper is here, to help Australian businesses keep their current staff and to help employees keep their current jobs, which goes a long way to keeping your business going, even if you're self-employed. So that when you're ready to start up again or get back to work, we can all get back to business sooner. To find out more, visit jobkeeper.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
They can clear our nose and soothe our throat, but they will never relieve our cough.
No, Willie. Vicks Vapor Drops.
Willie, I'm in the middle of something here.
Willie! Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough can relieve our cough now. Move along. Nothing to see here. Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough.
The good old MasterChef relay.
It'll be the toughest team relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of one.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
Oh my God.
I can't believe I've done this. I've cut my little finger.
Oh, this is not good. This is not good.
The toughest team relay. 7:30 tonight on 10.
And MasterChef's greatest ever dish is coming.
Jack Stephen is back on the track at Geelong. Just days after being hospitalised with a stab wound, the former Saint reported for training at Keyte Park. Nick Butler was there.
Yes, good evening. Well, little more than a week after presenting at the Alfred Hospital with a stab wound, Jack Stephen has presented here at Keyte Park for training with his Cats teammates. While he didn't do a lot, he said he was feeling healthy and rapt to have the Geelong jumper on again.
Yeah, it was good. Didn't do much, just walked a couple of laps, but good to see the boys. So, back into it. Yeah, I'm fine. So, just looking forward to getting back out there and mucking around.
Now, as to whether the four-time St Kilda Best and Fairest winner will be fit for round 2 of the AFL season, that is still up in the air, but he hasn't closed the door on that completely. Would you be a chance for round 2, mate?
I don't know. I just walked laps today, so hard to really tell, but we'll wait and see.
Now, the Cats have been awarded a very handy free kick ahead of their round 2 clash against Hawthorn. That game will now be played here, and their big full forward Tommy Hawkins, well, he's rapt about it.
It's fantastic to get them down here. I don't know in the current climate how much home ground advantage actually means, but it's nice to get some big Victorian clubs down to Geelong who probably, I haven't played Hawthorn down here in my time.
So there we go, the Cats to ramp up their competitive training with a full scratch match competitive session here at Keyte Park tomorrow.
Nick Butler. Thursday and Sunday night football feature heavily in the AFL's newly released fixture. Geelong and Tasmania are also the big winners, with the league announcing clubs like Essendon and Collingwood will play at venues they haven't seen for a long, long time.
You might find that you'll see teams like Essendon and Collingwood play down at GMHBA. You may even see, if we're able to get some games away in Tasmania, that those sort of teams will travel to Tasmania, which we haven't seen for some time.
The 4 West Australian and South Australian clubs are expected to stay on the Gold Coast, even if their borders open earlier than expected. Richmond has been given a reminder to be cautious as contact training returns. As the Tigers got back to tackling and training as a group today, the players were told to keep in mind the need to avoid injury before the season restarts.
We need to do some sort of contact, but we obviously don't want to be smashing each other. We know that the fact that the season is shorter and backing up is going to be really important, that we can't go out there and smash blokes into the ground.
There is an injury worry for the Tigers, with Basher Hooley no certainty to face the Magpies in round 2 because of a calf complaint. Alex Carey is hopeful Australia's tour of England will go ahead as planned in July. The West Indies and Pakistan are due to tour England next month, which would give the Aussies an idea whether their plans can go ahead. For now, Carey is locking in for pre-season with South Australia.
Fingers crossed. I love pre-seasons, but I don't mind playing cricket too. So if we get to go over to England, later in the winter, that'd be a great result.
Carey wants the T20 World Cup to go ahead as well, but the proposed start in October now looks unlikely, with the IPL exploring a similar start date. For a few hours at least, the NFL's most successful quarterback, Tom Brady, actually looked human, hacking around in a celebrity golf match. He partnered Phil Mickelson against longtime rival Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods, but like a true champ, Brady eventually delivered big time.
You made it! Wow! Shut your mouth, Chuck. Take a look at that medicine.
That shot cost 4-time major winner Brooks Koepka 100 grand, who bet Brady he couldn't make a par on the front 9. It wasn't enough for the win, Woods and Manning taking the match. The best news, though, more than $32 million was raised for charity. That is what you call, Jen, boys having fun.
Indeed. All good. Thank you, Stephen. Mike will be back after the break to deliver the 7-day forecast.
Want to win a year's supply of groceries thanks to Coles? Then grab tonight's code word and head to the 10 Play win page to enter, and you could be a winner. Plus, be watching MasterChef 7:30 tonight for the bonus code word to double your chances.
Right now at Carpet Call, you can take 50% off. Yes, 50% off all rugs purchased at carpetcall.com.au. Range, quality and price. That's why for over 40 years, Carpet Call are
the experts in the trade.
Muscle and osteo pain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? Pino Clean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
Harris Scarf's giant June sale is now on. Take a huge 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester, 30 to 50% off all clothing, footwear and underwear, and 20 to 30% off all electrical. Hurry, don't miss out. See in-store or online for details.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
Go on.
At Devondale, we believe great milk comes from cows that graze free.
If you've been injured at work, on the road or in a public place, your normal life can suddenly stop. Check if you have a claim for compensation online in minutes so you can start again. With Slater and Gordon, tomorrow starts today.
G'day guys, Tommy Goodall here, and these are my ISO diaries. Gardening takes forever. I found it's much easier to bury your veg and then dig them up. Look. What do we got here? Oh, not bad. 1 hour. What do we... Oh! That's convenient. Of course, now my veg is covered in dirt.
Any log delivery.
Did somebody say menu log? When cold and flu symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes and lasts for up to 8 hours. Nurofen for children.
Up next, a ruling on where millions raised by comedian Celeste Barber's bushfire appeal can legally be spent. Funny man Troy Kinney's dropping by with his grand plan to make Monday nights even better, and how Tracy's MasterChef dream was foiled by the fish dish from hell. The project next.
Welcome back. Now here's Mike with all the weather details.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening from South Yarra. We're in a park. It sort of feels like Little Red Riding Hood's going to come out or something like that. It's got that sort of feel about it. Hey, what a good-looking day it turned out to be today. 16 degrees in Melbourne. Happy with that. We've got 18 tomorrow. And again, tons of blue sky. A couple of great photos now that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And you're thinking, what is this? Well, first up, we've got Janet in Tutgaruk. The car windscreen this morning was frosty, and taking a rest on the car windscreen, this beautiful butterfly. And from Christine, the Maribyrnong at Mooney Ponds, that is marvellous. OK, kids were complaining it was cold this morning. Well, it was. It was 5 degrees in the city, but then it warmed up beautifully to a top of 16 degrees and tons of sun with just a light breeze. Outside right now, cooling down a little bit, 12 degrees. The humidity at 60%. The wind today has been a southeasterly, but it has eased right off as we speak. Around Melbourne today, and most temperatures were on or slightly below the norm under crystal clear skies. Across our state, well, minimums and maximums were either on or slightly below the average. -1 the overnight low up in the Alps, 18 degrees today's max up in the northeast. Around this mighty big country of ours, Brisbane, glorious weather. It has been freezing up in Queensland the past few days, but today magnificent, 25 degrees. In Sydney, they've had 10, maybe 12 mils of rain now, 16 degrees with massive waves offshore. Down in Hobart, 11 degrees, and chilly, 11 degrees. It's now 8, down to 3 overnight in Hobart. Adelaide today, 15, Perth a couple of degrees warmer. Over to Adelaide tomorrow, they've got 17 the next 3 days. Hobart, a mainly sunny day, but just 3 to 15. Sydney, more rain tonight, a further 15 mils tomorrow, top of 19 degrees, so 3 degrees warmer than today. Brisbane, 24 and sunny, and the national capital, 15 or 16 all week. Closer to home as we move into Victoria, just the odd isolated shower in the East Gippsland District's area overnight. Otherwise dry, fog and frost to make it feel even colder than some of those minimums would actually represent. And looking at some of those numbers, just a lonely one, for example, at Ballarat and Wangaratta. But once you survive that, lovely and sunny, generally the mid to high teens. Around Melbourne, yep, have a look at those minimums. A chilly morning, a little bit hard to get out of bed, but then a glorious afternoon with temperatures in the sort of mid to high teens. And out on the bays, east-northeasterly winds of 10 knots, waves of about a metre. So for our wonderful city by the bay, clear skies tonight for a cold start to the day in the morning, down to 5 like this morning, but then a perler, lovely and sunny at 18 degrees. On to Wednesday, 9 to 16, mainly cloudy, windier, possible showers, likewise on Thursday. And then Friday, a nice looking day, 7 to 17 degrees, mainly sunny. For the all-important weekend, Saturday again 17. A front will move up our way on Sunday, 15 degrees and wet. And this time next week, cold and wet and only around 13 degrees. So that is your weather. It is a good looking night tonight. Beautiful tomorrow, sunny and 18. Enjoy. See you tomorrow night, Jen.
Thank you, Mike. And that's 10 News First for this Monday. I'll have updates throughout the evening. The project is coming up next, but for now from the team, good night.
Tonight, a ruling on where millions raised by comedian Celeste Barber's bushfire appeal can legally be spent.